Bulletcast for life.
Biggest icon in wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know the name, you know the voice, you know exactly why I'm here. Just in case if you don't, I am a 24-year-old piece of gold, the former 8-time Bulletcast champion, the messiah of the microphone, and yes, I am still here to lead the evolution of the audio revolution, but, you know, I never do it alone, and I'm always tagging with Brandon, but for the first time in God knows how long, he's not my tag team partner on this podcast, neither is Baby Huey. He's my first ever tag team partner, besides my mother. You know, we are 3-time living room tag team champions. Team Unrated Reunion, as you can tell by the title of this podcast. Da'Mon McCoy, what's going on, man? How you doing, brother?
I am doing good. I'm glad to finally actually be doing this with you.
Absolutely. You know, Da'Mon has been on the Bulletcast before, episode 15. That was so long. It was like 3 years ago, yeah. You know, we've hit the 3-year mark. We're almost at episode 200. That's coming Thanksgiving week this year. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's been a while. You know, Da'Mon is the reason why I started watching wrestling, so he's really the founding father of the Bulletcast.
I guess if you say so, I guess I am. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, man. So I mean, the way I started watching wrestling, like, I had seen it once before with my cousin, but Da'Mon is the one that really got me hooked on it. You know, he moved across the street from me when we were the third grade.
Yes.
Yeah, third grade. And, yeah, you know, he used to come over to my house, like, you should watch it. I'm like, okay. And then I remember the date. It was November 22nd, 2004. It was the Vince McMahon football spoof where Trish is in the towel, and he's like, it's a woman in a towel, you know? And then so he turned it on that night. I remember the first match I ever saw that night was Edge versus Chris Benoit, which is crazy because a few years prior, that's the first match I legit ever saw was Edge versus Chris Benoit in that Halloween episode where Cena's like just like Vanilla Ice, SmackDown, yeah. So that's the first match I ever saw for Raw when he turned it on, and then he came back the next week, turned it on, been hooked ever since. You know, it's been what 15, 16 years, man, of watching wrestling.
Yep, 16 years of watching it. I didn't even really know how you would react to watching it because you didn't really seem like that kind of kid who'd be into that kind of stuff, especially at a time like that. You know, there wasn't really much video games to play back then because we were always outside. So I didn't really think you'd even be into it or even down to watch it, let alone.
I mean, dude, my mom didn't let me go outside till like the 4th grade, man. She didn't let me have a video game system till like the 5th grade, so I had to play all the catch up.
Took some time.
It did take a long time. But yeah, man, you know, I'm watching Raw for a couple months, and he's like, they got the show SmackDown. I'm like, there's more? And then, you know, ECW started up, and I discovered TNA. You were like, oh man, I've been watching that. I'm like, what? Why did you tell me about this? You know, I saw AJ Styles do that Fosbury flop flip, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was when back in the day when I was a kid, you know, if I was a fan of somebody, I'll let you know.
Almost definitely. You weren't afraid to be boisterous about letting people what you liked and what you didn't like.
When we turned on TNA, AJ was my guy. When Punk started having his rise, even when we were in high school, man, like, Punk was my guy. You know, and then I secretly liked Edge and Orton when they were dastardly heels. We'd go to school, talk about it, like, oh yeah, I hate that guy. Secretly, I'm like, oh dude, I love Edge. I'm an Edgehead. Cena was my guy for the longest, and then, what was it, Jeff Hardy, and my mom got upset. Started cutting up her socks and making the armbands, you know?
Yeah, I definitely remember that. And you were, you know what, I gotta say that you were the first heel that I ever encountered because all of my cousins, you know, they loved John Cena and they loved Triple H when he was a face, you know. So heels, you know, on my side were like, we hate you, mother. You know, we don't really like you like that. You know, we want to see the face. We want the crowd to lose their mind when your music comes on. We don't want to hear everybody boo you when you come out. But that is how it was growing up in my house. So when I met you and you were like, oh, dude, I love this guy. I was like, you bastard, how dare you? You love this guy and I hate him?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think that that's a testament to when we wrestled in my living room because we're gonna get into that. We did like 3 months in like one day. Yeah, man. I was mainly the heel when we wrestled because this guy, like you talk about the Harts or the Von Erichs or the McMahons or the Anawai wrestling dynasty. This guy created literally four generations of wrestlers. You know, there was it Big Icon Smith Biss in the he dominated the territory in the '60s, and then his wife Helen had kids, and there was D Money and Big Boy, and you know they had a there was like what Little T and like Triple X I think was a part of it, and Ram, and then they had like Horn and Chelsea was like somebody's wife. Like just this unbelievable creative mind. Like it took me a little bit to catch up. Unmute your mic so they could hear you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it took me a little bit to catch up, but I finally got there.
Yeah, it did take you in a little time. You know, it's funny that you mentioned the creating because I used to get frustrated with you because you would create one or two superstars like every other month or every other year, and I'm like, dude, can you please create somebody else? Because I was so used to having on my game system across the street at my house, I was so used to having all these different created superstars, and I thought it was really really fun to make your own creation and create somebody who, you know, who create a view of you if you were a WWE superstar, pretty much. So the reason why that whole family came about is because I create one superstar and I'm like, well, I don't really like him like that. So then I create another one on top of that. And then it just made me feel like I had an entire group of superstars that I can call my superstars. And I enjoyed having that because, you know, you play with Randy Orton and you play with John Cena on these games, but the creative part of it is you get to create a you if you were a WWE superstar. What would you want to look like? How would you want your persona to be?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And, you know, that's one of the really great things about these video games. You know, the creative outlet. And guys, when I first started creating, I had a white kid, Jason, Jason Morgan. Yep, that white boy made him. I rode with him for the longest time.
Yep, your very first created superstar. And it'll probably be the one you rock with until you die.
It probably will, man. You know, but then you know Brian Black came along, and there were some other hiccups along the way. There was Craig and Tank and Dylan. Just one name, guys. I realized I did that a lot.
Yeah, but there were good outcomes from that, though. You know, because it put your creative mind up against my creative mind. Because for some reason, majority of our creative superstars they weren't tag teams. They were going up against each other all the time.
Yeah, but we when we used to wrestle in my living room, I would be Jason, and he would be which one?
50,000 other
No,
superstars.
the one that we won the tag titles with. Was it Big Boy or D Money? One of them.
I think that was. I want to say D Money.
Yeah, I want
I
to say
want to say
D
D
Money
Money.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it was fun. You know, and his little brother would come over my house, and his cousin would come over my house, and we were just talking about it earlier off air. That it was his little cousin, his brother, and like a couple of the kids come over to my house, and they're like, "We like, no, you guys need to sit down. This is about to be serious." And we used to have long matches, man. Like that match I'm talking about like 20, 25 minutes, and
Yeah.
we had the same spot where we'd go for I'd go for a clothesline, he'd duck, he'd go for one, I'd duck, I'd turn back around, you know, after trying to go for another clothesline, he'd super kick me, he called it the Cypress kick, and 1, 2, 3, I did the job, and the match was over. Speaking of the Cypress. He legit super kicked me one time.
I'll never ever forget that moment simply because of how shocked we were when it happened. It was almost like, did I just do that? Like did I just do that to you? And the look you gave was like excitement, shock, and hurt all at the same time because it's like I'm shocked you did it, I'm excited you did it, but my jaw hurts.
Yeah, we were reenacting the spot where Flair's getting up at 24, and Sean's like, "I'm sorry, I love you," and like he legit super kicked me, and he's like, "Oh," and he's looking all shocked, but I'm like, pin me," you know, at a job to do.
That was our job.
Oh my god! I mean, we wrestled. Like we did Raw, we did ECW, we did SmackDown. I think we even did like a couple of house shows.
Yep,
And
a
like
couple of house shows.
superstars and stuff like
Yep.
that.
We created our own themes here and there, a host of our own tag teams.
When we did interviews, that was in my kitchen.
Now that's an iconic thing. That's a very iconic thing because we would stand right under the chandelier and do our interviews.
Yeah, and then if we had a backstage brawl, it'd be like by my kitchen table. The interview section was like by my refrigerator.
Right.
And then when I got that ACDC CD, that was our theme
Oh, that
music.
was over with. We used, I think, every song on that CD for an entrance music for one of our superstars.
I know. And then a couple times, like I think somebody had the WWE theme song CD. So if we had to be like, "Oh, you have to be Cena," we had like the Cena theme. Because
Yeah.
before we used to just play them off of my TV.
Yes, from the create an entrance part of the video game.
Yeah, that was funny. And then before we had actual replicas, we used real belts that hold up your pants. That was funny.
I'll never forget that Diamond Heights belt that we created. I think it was Pooter's belt, and he brought it over to your house. Because, like you said, we had no championship belts. And he goes, "Oh, I know a good belt that we could use for a championship." And he goes and he grabs this belt that has a little a diamond on it. The buckle was the shape of a diamond, and we called it the Diamond Heights Championship.
I know, but you had to win. Like you people talk about Triple H being power hungry. He would shoot pin us like legit cradle, and so we couldn't kick out. I'm like, son of a like he was always the champion. The couple times his brother Pooter was champion. I think Mari had it like once or twice.
Yeah, he did.
You know?
Whenever he came around.
Yeah, oh my god, I was like Jesus. I mean, it was fun, man. You know, we had a lot of fun, and we had a last man standing match that shoot went like an hour, and it was for the
Right.
big gold. And you were like, man, f this, and you legit smacked me upside my head because I kept getting up. You know?
Yeah, those were the times where in the back of your mind you literally see yourself performing in front of 1,000 fans. You don't see your TV, you don't hear your mom calling your name telling you to stop jumping around downstairs because she only got insurance for her son.
My mom would always say that. I only got insurance for me and my son.
All the time. It will kill us all the time every time she
We'd have
say
to
it.
stop and just laugh.
Yeah. She'll call your name, Phillip. Phillip. I bet you if she called you right now.
That man, that's really how it was. I mean, we'd have Royal Rumbles. We'd move my couches around, and that was the top rope. You get thrown over that. There was like
Yep.
this little hook on my ceiling. I had like this music brief. Actually, it's right down. It's right there. See where that Warriors ticket is?
Oh snap!
It's the same one. Yeah, dude. That used to be our Money in the Bank.
Yeah, for some reason nobody knew what that hook was there for. We were like,
It
"What
was
is?
just
Why is
there.
that there?" So we were like, "Oh, we can hang stuff from this
Yeah,
championships."
we remember you used to have to use the rubber band for the foam titles. We
I
hang the
remember
rubber
that.
band for the have a ladder match, and you're climbing up the ladder, which is the couch. And dude, we used to have the hardcore matches with the boxes. Whenever like I got like a new computer or printer, we'd save the box and all right, table spot. All right, stop. Put it back together so we can do it again.
Yep.
Dude, we saved one box for like 6 months.
You know what we did, and I'll never forget the first time you jumped on me because you were like I don't want to jump on you because I don't want to hurt you, because you had me jump on you, and that was normal for us, me jump on you, that was fine, but you would never actually jump on me. So first time you're like, I don't want to hurt you. I was like, no, just go, just do it. And you jumped on me, and when I tell you the pain that shot through my chest when you landed, I didn't know how to
Were
react
you
to
like
that.
on the box?
The box was on me.
Oh Jesus!
I was covered in cardboard.
Remember, we used to. I'm surprised we never dented the closet door at my steps. We used to the big blue
The
toy
toy
chest?
chest cover.
Yeah, I'm surprised we never dented the door. Like he threw me down the stairs and I landed on that. My mom was like,
That was one too. She getting so mad at us. We
That was like
backed
the
that thing
first
up.
one.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Your
dude.
house was the wrestling
It
house.
was. We wrestled at your house like a few times,
Right.
but my house, man, like we'd have tag team matches, 6-man tags, depending on who was over. 6-man pack challenge matches, fatal 4 ways. There was this kid Antoine. He would come over, and Da'Mon, his little brother, and myself. We would look at each other, ring the bell, then triple super kick him. He'd be like,
All at
"Really?"
once.
We're like, "Stay down." Oh my god, we had a lot of fun, man.
We did. We definitely did. We were that back in that time. Kids were actually being kids. We didn't have the touch screens and stuff like that. So we were just being kids, having fun, wrestling around. But it also put a create some, it put that creative state in our mind, where we could create superstars and create storylines as well. And at the same time, it also, I think that was preparing you for what you do now. And I think all of that, watching it on TV, performing it in your living room, even trying out, a couple of times for it, that was training you for what you do now. I always looked at you like that. You're the guy who gives me all the information because I don't keep up with it as much as I used to. So whenever something happens, you're like, "Oh, you didn't hear about it?" I'm like, "Nope. I need you to tell me because I don't know what happened." But you are WWE.com. You are wrestling.com. You are bulletcast.com. You are the information giver.
It's about time I get this recognition, man. No, yeah, man. I mean, but it was something I loved ever since I was a kid, and it's been a huge part of my life, starting the Bullet Cast. But like I said, if he hadn't introduced me to it, then this wouldn't be here. This platform wouldn't be here, and probably never would have gotten into podcasting. Never would have embarked on a lot of the other projects that I'm doing. So I really do have to credit Da'Mon for a lot of this stuff. But man, we have to talk about when I first started wrestling in my living room. I did not want to bump for shit. I did not want to do
You
it
did
at
not.
all. I thought like it's gonna hurt. Like, stop being a bitch.
Yeah, I said that quite a bit in your living
Oh
room.
my god, we used to have like that. I used to have like that giant Mickey Mouse and Minnie that we'd wrestle too.
Oh
Like
man,
if we needed a third person in the match and Pooter wasn't there.
that was your practice dummy. You practiced on that first.
I practiced like elbow drops, swantons, DDTs, twist of fates,
Leg drops.
every spine busters.
Right. Only thing
Everything.
we didn't do were the moonsaults. We did everything else but moonsaults.
Man, yeah. Oh my god, I think I tried a Pele kick once. Oh Jesus! You used to do the RVD spot where I would hold your leg, you would throw your leg over my leg, land on your feet, and then come back around and kick me in the face.
I remember that. I remember the first time I did it, we were like, oh.
I was like, oh!
I definitely remember that. Now that is a moment I'll never
We
forget.
threw it in the match we put on for the kids. Oh my god, man!
And it's crazy because all the kids were like, oh, looking back on that stuff now, it's like, man, you wasn't even doing nothing. But that shit was amazing to them because they were like, whoa, he did it.
I know we got pretty good at like whispering in each other's ears to where they couldn't hear us.
Right, so
Yeah.
we know what comes next, but they don't.
Man, and then the one time so he created this character called Chris Dubb, and he's not related to the Money family, finally. But like he had the spine buster. He's like, what am I gonna call it? I'm like, bro, just call it dubstep.
Yes. Big shout out. Big shout out to the Podfather for
No longer
for
the
that.
Podfather. There's too many of them.
Oh.
Like I'm like, there's like probably 50 gajillion Podfathers, so became the microphone messiah.
Mm-hmm.
Had to change it up.
You heard a big pun. Big pod.
No, but yeah, and he legit hit me with the dubstep in that match too, man.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, God.
I did. That move was definitely created by you. You created that entire move for me because before you even named it, before I even thought about a name for it, it was just a spine buster, and I was like, oh, it's just a spine buster, and you're like, dude, you gotta name it, and I was like, I don't know what the hell to call this shit, man, and you're like, dude, dubstep, and I was like, damn, that sounds good enough to sell.
And then you had like some cutter. You called that the dub out or something.
Yeah, it was the McGilla cutter.
Oh yes, shout out to Curtis Axel.
Yes, I used that and I did call it the dub out. It started to get weak after a while, and I didn't really like it after a while because it was like I'm ending matches with the Cypress,
I mean, going back to Jason, he had a couple finishers. The Estuary.
Now that I remember when you first told me the name and I was like, dude, what the hell is that? What is that? But it was, I gotta say, I like that neck breaker. I do.
Yeah, but it was a neck breaker. It was a well, the Estuary is like a stream. Yeah, so that's what I named it after. I'm like, eh. Then I saw Eve Torres do it. I'm like, oh, I gotta change the move now. No, but yeah, man. I mean, we had a lot of fun, a lot of great fun, and yeah, I'm just trying to think. What's your favorite match that we wrestled? Favorite one against each other, then favorite tag one we did together.
Okay. I'll say that the favorite one-on-one match would have to be the last man standing match we had that went on for seemed like forever, like an hour or so. I would have to say that one because in that match we weren't just wrestling anymore. We were telling a damn story, dude. We, in the back of our minds, that shit was real.
That was after the we built the which guy was that? I think that was D Money, right? Tag
Yeah.
partner. We had broken up.
Yep.
Like the second time we had the titles,
Yeah.
when we actually got replica tag titles.
Right. Yeah.
And so that was the story. You know, you went on to become the world champion, and you know you were fighting to keep it. You know, you were
Yeah.
doing anything by any means necessary.
Literally.
I'm walking out the world champion.
Yeah.
We built up. That was like, I think, in real time we built that up in 2 weeks, but in kayfabe time it was like 3 months.
Yeah.
Because we did
Definitely.
like 2 months worth of storytelling in a day.
Yeah, we did. Oh, definitely. All day
Yeah, like
until
you
it
were-
got dark.
You were on Raw. I was on Raw. You were on
I was on
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
We made it. We met in the middle at ECW because you wrestled like Miz and I think the dummy had to be the Miz or something. Then I would
Yeah.
run in, and there was so much running in on each other. And
There was a
it was
lot.
too much. It was like WCW. There was just too much
Yeah,
run-ins.
it was a lot. It's like if that were real, the ring would have been super duper packed.
Oh my! I have another story to tell after this. But yeah, man, you know we were fighting, you know, for the world title, and it like we were kids. We were like 12 years old, but it felt real.
It did.
It felt real, and the adrenaline, like that's probably why you stayed so skinny.
True, very very
We, like,
true.
we wrestled a lot. I don't know what happened to me. But we wrestled a lot, like a lot.
did.
We were sweating in the summer. We like open up the door.
Right.
Like, oh my god, we had to like change our clothes at one point. Like, man, we were getting too sweaty, man. Go take a
Right.
shower or something, and then
Right.
start over. Like, I mean, it was just wrestling nonstop. After we got home from school, do our homework, meet up at my house, wrestle, play the games.
that's right.
Fridays, you'd spend the night after SmackDown. You know, wake up at like 2 a.m., wrestle in like a quick match, and go back to sleep.
Right.
You know, that's all it was constantly, man.
Yep.
And it was a lot of fun. And then I remember one time you were Big Boy or something, and you basically had me be the whole Raw roster, and you took out everybody. And then I had to become a
remember
legend. I
that.
had to be Steve Austin. Had to be Rock. Had to be
Right.
Mankind.
You know what's funny about that? The only person that you weren't was the Undertaker that time.
Oh no. Oh yeah, you're right. You know, I wasn't Big Evil. You're right, man. I should have been Take.
That would have been a good one.
It would have been, you know, like you dismantled Kane and Show. I think I had to be Umaga. I tried to go for the Samoan Spike.
Kali.
Oh, God, I hated being Kali. I hate Kali. Yeah, man. And then I think we have to talk about Chris Dubb's most crowning achievement. It was WWE 13. Yes, WWE 13. And it was Jason versus Chris Dubb, WrestleMania for the WWE title. Actually, no, I don't even think a title was on the line.
No, yeah, title was on the line. It was we said that was going to be the final match, and whoever lost had to leave.
Exactly. And so it was also like, all right, no, if you win, man, I'll buy you Asian Delight. For those of you that live in the Bay on Hesperian, Asian Delight, right next to that 7-Eleven.
Yep.
Best Chinese food you will ever have, reasonably priced.
Yep.
You get like $15 worth of food for 8. It's
Yeah.
delicious, absolutely. It raises up your MSG count, but that's another time. So yeah, you know, we put it on Simulate. We didn't play the match on the game. We just watched it.
Yep.
And yeah, man, like Jason caught the Cypress, and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna do it. And then you like hit him with a dubstep at 1, 2, 3. Like he had his resiliency, didn't even use it. I'm like,
Yeah, he didn't, and I think that's what pissed you off the most.
it was.
It wasn't the loss that pissed you off. It was the fact that you felt like he wasn't trying anymore.
And then this fool cried. He legit cried.
I did. I cried. I was excited. I was happy. I had a free meal that day. And for those of you, well, none of you know, I am in love with food. Food is my first love, just in case you all don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean, we I can tell the Dairy Bell story.
Oh, my. Yeah.
So, we used to go to Dairy Bell before it was popping with the carne asada fries and get the turkey burgers because they were good.
Yeah, they were slamming.
Get like a soda and some fries. You know, I used to pay for everybody because I had the bready back then. You know, they called me Bready Kruger. You feel me?
Don't get dubstep through this table. Come on now. Please.
Anyway, so Damon's at home eating like steak, peas, and mashed potatoes,
potatoes,
with his
yeah.
hands.
Yeah.
Where are we like 12, 13? 13, right?
Yeah, we were about 12 because we had just middle school had just got started. I think that's the time you went away and came back.
Oh no, so we would have to be. I came back, so we would have to be like 13, 14.
Okay.
Yeah, and then oh my, yeah, summer 2011.
Yep, I was eating the mashed potatoes and the peas without a fork. I was eating
If
them
it's
with
the summer
the...
of 2011, we were 15. Yeah, because we just started high school.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like after
that's
freshman year.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and then so Pooter, Maury, and I go, and this fool, like, we sit down, order our food, and we see this fool walking up. He devours the steak, potatoes, and peas. And
All
then
in
I
one
buy
sitting.
him a turkey burger, devours that too, and we're sitting at their house. Like an hour later, this fool was making noodles, poaching his eggs, throwing some hot sauce in there, getting all fancy with it.
I can make the hell out of some noodles.
Oh my! We were like, damn. Oh my god! I mean, those were good times, man, with our childhood and the wrestling and whatnot. Again, that's why you were able to stay so skinny, because we wrestled all the damn time.
Yeah.
We did a couple matches outside. Those didn't really work out too well.
No, they didn't. You were the grass would make you itch, and I didn't like being in the dirt. I was the clean one. Pooter would like to roll around in the dirt, but that I didn't like it much.
Yeah, yeah. So favorite tag match that we had together.
To be honest with you, I remember us being a tag team, and I remember us having matches, but I don't know which one in particular. I really don't.
I think the one I remember the most is we'd wrestle Pooter and Maury, or Pooter and whoever his tag partner was, and it was the one where Maury and I just started going at it, like just hitting each other.
And we were trying to break you two up.
Yeah, that was it. That's the one, man. I think my favorite match that we had against each other was the one where all the kids had to watch. 'Cause we were like, bro, I think we were like juniors in high
Yeah,
school.
we were putting on a show.
Yeah,
dude.
like we went at it for like 20 minutes. False finish galore. I think I did the spot where you throw me into the chair and I do like the flip onto it.
Yeah.
And then like you did the spinning kick and the cypress, and I did the spot where I hop on the couch, like get the springboard and do the clothesline. Like we had a great show, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And like the multi-man matches we did, the rumbles and stuff like that. That was all very fun. And I guess you could say favorite video game match we had against each other was Jason versus Dub.
Yeah, that
For the
of all
Asian
time.
divide.
Out of any other match that we watched, our created people go up against each other, that was the one that took the cake. That was the grand one right there.
Absolutely. I think a secondary favorite of mine is Jason versus whatever created person it was of yours for the cruiserweight title in that ladder match we did. It was like on 09 something, like 08 something.
Cruiserweight. Oh, I had to be Moonrunner
Yeah,
because I didn't have many cruiserweights.
that and Gemini 2000.
Yeah, it was probably Gemini 2000.
No, he was on 13 though. We didn't have the match. It was. I remember the game was like 09 or 10, something like that.
Okay, well, if it was '09, it was definitely Moonrunner then, because I didn't have many cruiserweights back
Yeah,
then.
man. So, I mean, that was a lot of fun, and I guess this is gonna wrap up the show. Da'Mon, where can the people find you? Twitter, Instagram, whatever.
Instagram, Damainegee. That is DAMAINEGEE.
All right, if you want to follow me on my personal at Heel Antwine, HeelAntWine, Instagram and Twitter, because I'm a heel in real life. JK, if you meet me, I'm a tremendous fellow.
Yeah. Doesn't treat you right, just punch him in the stomach.
Yeah,
Or in the back.
Oh, absolutely. I like that time you choked me.
We're not even going to have that conversation.
We're not going to talk
We're
about
not going
that.
to talk about that.
Yes,
It's
please
just
follow
the thing.
The Bulletcast on Instagram, The Bulletcast on YouTube, Bulletcast on Twitter, Bulletcast on Facebook, even though we're not really too fancy on there. Yes, email us, bulletcast2 is in the number 2, sweetswet@gmail.com. 99.9 FM KW in Watsonville every Thursday night from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. SoundCloud, no, not SoundCloud anymore. We got off of that. Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play, Patreon. We're all over the damn place. All right, stay clean, stay strong, stay safe. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, diamonds are forever. And so is the microphone messiah.
And thank you for having me on the show.
You just ruined the outro.
Sorry. Shit happens.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.